Well, most of us are concerned about the environment, and there is a special pull to our oceans. They seem to have a mystique for all of us, especially our children. The ocean and the environment and children are all on the mind of game developer Jane G. from Toronto, who just this week released iBiome-Ocean, her second in a series. Welcome to What She Said.
Oh, thank you, Kate, for having me here. We're very excited to have our game launch a few days ago, and it was featured by iTunes in the iTunes store. So very excited about that.
We've never met a game developer before.
No, we haven't. So how did you come to be a game developer?
Oh, see, that's a very interesting question. I think really in real life, there's not a lot of female game developers in the world. But I'm very fortunate. Back in 1994, I was hired in a major games development studio back in China. Mm-hmm. So I started as a game designer, and I really, really love this media. So when I moved to Canada and I started the studio with my partner, and we want to design games from a feminine perspective. So I think very important project for us is called The Living Garden, and which is a social game on Facebook. Mm-hmm. It was important to us and to me, I think, is because it's also connecting me with the environmental challenges we're facing today.
Yeah. What's the feminine perspective for a game? I'm just curious.
Okay, I think, yes, I was asked a lot for that question. I think for me is a game is, first of all, is a media. It's a kind of like author is writing a story. So inevitably, everyone get involved with the game design will bring his or her own perspective to the game. So really, like to me, the feminine perspective, I think, is a kind of a nourishing in a sense, like you're supporting something, you're providing something fundamental, or perhaps providing an opportunity even in the future, kind of more in line with what we're doing, like educational games. Mm-hmm. You provide some basic knowledge. You probably trying to give them the basic skills or basic understanding for a certain subject matter. And for me, I think it is a lot of fun to design, game, not only fun, but also something. After you played it, you felt you learned something. I think that's really rewarding to me.
So tell us, the first in the series was iBiome Wetland, and
right.
This is the second, Ocean.
Right.
So tell us what the players are tasked with doing, how it works.
Okay, sure. The iBiome-Ocean is all about building, exploring, and learning. So the kids can build and explore the different kind of ecosystems and celebrate the rich diversity of sea life. They can either play on their own or co-play with their parents. And I think most importantly, they are learning the real world ecological and biological interactions. So in terms of exactly the game mechanics in the game is that they just drag and drop, and they can they can decide what species is playing what kind of ecological role. And then as they learn this from the play, they will understand some basic biology concept for one or two species, and that introduce the species to their domes.
Okay, and you also teach them, and they play with the environmental challenges the ocean is facing, like overfishing, plastic litter, ocean acidity, global warming.
Right.
How do you make them interesting without making them alarming? Because the game is aimed at 7 to 12-year-olds.
Right. I think that's really is a lot of testing and twisting going on with our design part, because like you mentioned, environmental challenges is very big, but we believe everyone can help from reducing our footprint. Mm-hmm. So, like, how are you going to convey that idea to the kids? What we did is, first of all, we will make them build this biodome first. When they build a biodome, they see the beautiful nature coming up right in front of their eyes. And then they will have this kind of care. They would have this association build up.
And maybe a protective feeling about it?
I think so. I
Yeah.
think so. And then we will give them a tool which is, allow them to build different kind of technical advantages, like the comfort. For example, we enjoyed every day, like a hot tap or maybe a refrigerator or plastic bottles or all those kind of. Exactly, or bags. So when kids build them, they just, because we're smart, we like to build, we enjoy the technology, and then we build them, then the game will review the consequences. So we will have like the CO2, we will have some plastic litters or the forbidden, the fishing nest, for example. So those becomes the litters to the beautiful dome that they build. So naturally, the kids will wonder, how are they going to help with the situation?
Besides educating them, though, don't you think that children become the messengers? I remember a friend whose child came home and said, I'm not taking my lunch in a plastic bag anymore. You either get me a reusable thing that can be washed, or I'm not taking my lunch because I know that this is causing waste. Suddenly, they had to go out and buy. I mean, they were educating the parents.
Really, I believe you. I believe you. I truly believe, the power of education. And I think that's why it's so important for us to focusing on the game that can be helpful for the inquiry-based, the STEM classroom, where the teachers will use games like this to be a kind of a powerful tool to engage the students with the biology in our case. And then through the co-play or the case you mentioned, the kids can be the messenger. So everyone, like what we're running today is having a campaign called Being C Student. When I say C is SEA. So really is...
We should all be C students.
Exactly. So we can all learn about this and then as we enjoy the play, but also learn about the ecological footprint we all have and how to reduce it.
Is this your mandate with all the games you're going to design?
I think for us is that we will focus on the educational games in general, but at the moment we are focusing on the biology for that subject matter, because really there's a lot of apps about math. There's a lot of apps perhaps about coding, but there's not a lot of apps about biology, and it happens to be a very, very important part.
What would the next be in your series?
Oh, that's a good question. I think we have been doing with water themes for the past 2 games. Perhaps the next one we would either extend for another ecosystem, which is also important, like Arctic Ocean, or perhaps we could go something to change the theme to be like a land, forest, rainforest. It could all be the possibility.
So how do people get iBiome-Ocean? Because you can play it as a web game on your iPad as well, and schools can get a special deal on it too, right?
That's right. That's right. So for the game, for all of our 2 games, everyone can buy it from the iTunes stores, but also you can also buy the online version if you don't have any of those kind of a mobile device, especially for schools who are using Google Chromebooks. They can purchase the online license for 2 of the games, and then they can play as an entire classroom. So for the iTunes store, we give the educator a special discount, and also for online as well. So they're all affordable.
So where would they go online?
They will go to schools.springbaystudio.com, and from there they will be able to purchase the license.
But for the rest of us, we can go to the education apps section of the App Store. Right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Or if you Google iBiome, I think you probably will have both of them.
And it's $3.99 for the
that's $3.99 for the Canadian dollar. Yeah, and then we also come with a light version where you can download it for free to try whether you like it. before you make the decision for the full version. We don't have any ads in the game, so really it's just the kind of, if you like, you'll buy it.
Jane G, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's a great pleasure.
This is what she said. Stay with us.